All right, welcome back. We've got breaking news of a plane off the runway at Logan Airport. You can see it right there from Sky Eye. This is a JetBlue flight, 312, into the grass off runway 33L. Thankfully, no one was reported hurt in this. Still, it's interfering with airport operations, and there's a ground stop at least on that runway that we know of. The passengers disembarked from the plane. You can see that mobile stairway driven right up to one of the rear exits. Earlier on WBZ News at noon, we saw passengers disembarking and being bused back to the terminal. Right now, approximately 10 first responder emergency vehicles are on scene and moving about. Now, we just received a statement from the FAA which says JetBlue Airways Flight 312 went into the grass while turning off the runway at Boston Logan International Airport around 11:55 a.m. local time, Thursday, June 12th. This is an Airbus A220. It departed Chicago O'Hare International Airport. The airport authority plans to deplane passengers via stairs and bus them to the terminal, which we have seen. The FAA will investigate. So that was the statement we just received, and some of those actions have already happened. Again, this was a JetBlue plane that has rolled off the runway at Logan Airport. Now, they said departures, and when I say they, the FAA said there was going to be a ground stop on departures until about 2 p.m. due to this emergency, as of now, 12:46. But as always, there's a chance that a ground stop for departures could be extended based on what they found, what they see at the scene, and what investigation needs to happen in the moment, certainly. But the news is good here, that plane that rolled off the runway and does not appear to have suffered any superficial damage, was successfully deplaned with the passengers, and they were taken back to the airport. This is a view from Sky Eye, and you can see it's kind of tight. You see a shadow of another airplane moving across a different runway. No word on whether or not arrivals continue at Logan. But we do know the last statement from the FAA said departures are suffering from this ground stop that will continue for at least about another hour or so until they figure out exactly what happened and if they can remove the plane from its location. There's another angle straight on of that JetBlue aircraft that went off the runway. We do have crews. Oh, there's a plane coming in the background. You see that on that little inset video? So we see a plane arriving. We see airplanes on other rundowns. So that's good, at least for arriving flights, that people are still getting into Logan. But with all of those first response emergency vehicles, AKA cars and trucks, on that runway 33L, we know that there aren't going to be any departures, at least from that section of the airport. So Logan's still partially functional, if you will, as other airplanes taxi around it. Look at that inset image, the one on the left of your screen. You can see airplanes lined up in the background and foreground around that JetBlue aircraft. Again, this was an arrival from Chicago's O'Hare Airport, and this incident happened about an hour ago, according to the latest FAA statement. The most important piece of information to pass along here: no reports of any injuries. Of course, we're dealing with other news as well. A plane crash in India that resulted in at least 200 deaths. Here's a map, an examination of runway 33L and Logan Airport, a greater view of all of the intersecting taxiways and runways as well. And you could see the potential there to basically create a runway gridlock because of that plane is there. But at least Airport officials have said that this ground stop on departures would be only about an hour or so. Logan, of course, with 6 runways total, and we saw firsthand planes coming into and arriving at the airport. So here's what we've got. We've got crews on the way to Logan Airport after this JetBlue airplane rolled off the runway and into the grass there on runway 33L. The FAA has already put out a statement confirming what we know, that passengers on this plane from Chicago O'Hare disembarked. You see that mobile stairway driven right up to the back of the plane. They were then bused to the terminal. Emergency crews there are standing by, but certainly you can see there isn't a sense of urgency from the people on the ground there. In the background, planes lining up on a different runway at Logan. So we want to find out from airport officials, A, exactly what happened here, B, what is the operational status of the airport, both for departures and arrivals, and C, when can flights resume and when will this plane be removed from the runway? So there's a lot we don't know at this hour. Again, we've got WBZ News crews heading to the scene, and we'll try to ascertain more over the course of the coming minutes and hours into the afternoon. Because on this Thursday, as you can see, it is a busy scene at the airport on the runway. The good news, at least arrivals are still coming in, but not at 100%. The airport's got some closures that they need to deal with. And of course, that plane sitting right on the runway there. Again, JetBlue Airways Flight 312 into the grass, turning off a runway at Logan International around 11:55 this morning. This is an Airbus A220 that departed from Chicago O'Hare. Passengers have been deplaned. They have been bused to the terminal. We've got crews en route. We're going to stand by on this. We're keeping our eyes on this, and we'll make sure to update you whenever we get new information on the CBS News app. We'll send text alerts straight to you, and of course right here on our streaming service, CBS News Boston. I'm Chris Tanaka. I'll be with you here throughout the afternoon. A quick break, and we'll be back as soon as we get new information.